I am in big trouble and the seller is going to sue me. Oh yeah, today was a fun one. Austin and I were at an inspection today. Old house, like an 1870, 1860 house. Recently renovated, so we know what that means. That means the seller actually did all the work himself. And let's just say it wasn't going real well, but we were doing a septic dye test and we were testing the faucets. And the way that that works is you have to run water for an extended period of time, but all we do is turn on a faucet. Austin was doing the septic dye test today. You run the water, you make sure it doesn't leak, you stand there for a few minutes, and then you periodically check it. And right about the 40-minute mark, water started coming out into the kitchen. As we walked in and we noticed the water coming out, we shut off the faucets and the water just kept coming. It wasn't gonna stop, like it just started flooding the kitchen floor. I looked under the sink in the kitchen and I noticed water was actually spraying up through the drain pipe, and I went in the bathroom and water was also spraying up through the drain pipe. So number one, none of the drains were properly plumbed. That water should have come up into the sink, not all over the floor. But on top of it, the fact that it was spraying out of the bottom after we turned off the water tells me that there was a backup in the drain pipe somewhere, downstream. So now that the kitchen floor is fully wet, we're grabbing towels, we're cleaning everything up, which we don't have to do. This is something called failing under normal use. I'm legally required to run faucets and to test drains and all that stuff, and sometimes they fail. We get everything cleaned up and dried out. It took us about a half an hour. We're down in the basement, and what I offered to do for free today was to do a sewer scope and basically run the camera down and see if we could find what the problem was. Sometimes you can kind of knock the clog loose with the camera, and that wasn't the case today. We got out about 5 feet and it was completely clogged. Just about then, Austin and I are standing down in the basement. We hear the seller come in and he's cussing. He's just F this and F that, and you guys clogged my drain. He comes down, he's like yelling, right? The listing agent, really good guy. I could just see the look on his face. And I'm trying to tell the seller, I said, sir, it failed under normal use. So we didn't create a problem, we didn't cause a problem, we discovered a problem. That's my job, that's what I'm supposed to do. Oh no, he was screaming at me. He says, you clogged my drain. I use that kitchen sink every day and it's never backed up. And I was like, sir, you live in here by yourself, using the kitchen sink occasionally is different than running 3 faucets and maybe a family of 3 live in here. So it's supposed to have proper drainage and it doesn't. I'm doing my very best to stay professional through this whole thing. Austin's just standing there and he's just, kind of in disbelief. He's doing a good job of keeping his composure. And I told the seller, and I said, because he's yelling at me at this point going, well, you clogged my drain. I said, sir, do you think I brought something with me to intentionally clog up your drains? He goes, well, I don't know what you did, but you definitely did something. And I said, look, I'm down here as a courtesy right now, trying to see if I can clear the clog or to see if I can at least find the problem. And I go, I didn't even have to clean up the water in the kitchen. I did that as a courtesy as well. He goes, oh yeah, real courteous. You clogged up my system. And I said, well, sir, I'm just trying to do the best I can here, but it broke under normal use. At that point is when he kind of like reasserted that somehow I caused the clog. He goes, well, you were the one running the faucets. And I said, when something breaks under normal use, it's no different than like opening a door and it falling off the hinges. And I go, faucets are meant to be run, and it failed under normal use. So at that point, he started threatening to sue me. He's like, well, I'm going to sue you. And I'm just like, this is what it's like, a day in the life of a home inspector. But the interesting thing was, it was good for Austin today to kind of learn what he's going to be up against in the future. All right, now here's the bottom line. If you think it's wrong for me to run water and actually flood a kitchen, here's what would have happened if I didn't do that testing and if I didn't inspect the way that I do. My clients would have bought the house, and on day 1, they would have flooded their kitchen or their bathroom. And they would have called me and said, you missed this. The only responsibility and the only concern I have on an inspection is covering my client's best interest. That is it. The bathroom and the kitchen were plumbed improperly. There was definitely something. There was a backup in the septic system, and I found it. That's all that matters. Well, that's a big bunch of nope.